Is that camera straight? Yeah, okay. Hey, Maui, get over here. Come on, the show's starting. Come on. Come on. 10 questions of doom. Come on, Maui, get over here. Mal, come here. Psst. Do it out like this. It's a new setting, Maui. It's a new setting. Okay, they having the shot though? We don't have any shot. Okay, right there. Okay, here we go. There we go. Hey guys, what's going? Oh, okay. Anyway, we're good. Okay. So I want to start this thing called the 10 Questions of Doom, where somebody sends me in 10 questions, I answer them to the best of my ability, and we go from there. That's basically the show. All right, show's starting. Show's starting. We're outside. It's summertime, Maui. It's a summertime. I'll lift you up. Okay. You ready today? This week on the show, longtime RueTV viewer Joey Redballs has sent in the questions for us. Right, Maui? Joey Redballs. She's a little excited. I got a new wooden deck out here. Well, thank you, Joey, for sending in these questions for me to answer. Question number one. By the way, Joey sent these questions in February of 2019. Okay. Question. Maui, it's a frog. It's a frog. Leave it alone. It's a toad. It's a frog toad. Okay? Leave it alone. Number one. What is the dumbest thing you've ever done as a kid? What is the dumbest thing you did as a kid, and why? I would say the time I super kicked a steel chair into my brother Justin's face. Not accidentally, but the accident part was the misfire that when the chair, don't nudge it, don't nudge it. When the chair accidentally clipped his, the corner of the chair clipped his face and gave him a black eye. And I proceeded to inform Justin if he could please lie and say that he fell off a treadmill, instead of telling my parents that I gave him a Van Daminator gone awry. Number two, what was the first video game system I owned? Favorite game for it? I had an Atari 2600. That was the first one, and it sucked and I hated it. So I would say Nintendo 8-bit. My favorite game was probably Bases Loaded or MLB Baseball, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. You know what was weird? What are you looking at, Mal? Mal, come on. You can play the dog from Duck Hunt right now, Maui. Play the dog from Duck Hunt. You can do the laughing thing. Do the laugh thing. No? All right. I'll just lift you up, Mal. Okay. You're here. Okay. Now look on there. Look at the camera. Okay. All right. Okay. Welcome back. We're here in a more familiar setting. Sorry about that, guys. Maui got a little overexcited, on account of the new wooden deck, Tell the people at home sorry, because they were excited about seeing the entire segment from the new wooden deck, Maui. They were. All right, you're forgiven. So, nothing about no apology for them. You've apologized to me. All right, that's enough. I don't apologize to all three of our viewers. Question 3, let's see. What was the first R-rated horror movie you ever saw, and how? Well, if you count, in 1990, 6 ABC, I think it was, ran a 2-part mini TV series, the original movie It, with Tim Curry. My parents would watch that when it aired on television. I saw it after the fact. Most of it anyway. But the first movie that I really saw in theaters was a few years later, probably about 1996, was Scream. That was the first rated R horror movie that I saw in theaters. I loved it. I was hooked ever since. It gave me nightmares. But Scream made me a lifelong horror fan. And ever since, it's 2020 now. And I love horror movies. More than ever, because, okay. So let's see, any nightmares, consequences? Any nightmares, consequences? I remember, there was a second part of that question. Any nightmares, consequences to that horror movie? Let's talk about the Scream, because you have nightmares, generic nightmares about evil clowns and It when you're 10 years old. But when you're 16 and you see Scream for the first time, I remember my brother Kevin getting the whole Scream outfit and scaring the crap out of me. Like literally to the point of me shrieking like a 3-month-old. He really pranked me hard one night. He came home with the entire gown, the face, and I was not expecting that. Scared that pissed my pants. Heavily pissed my pants. Number 4, have you ever met any childhood heroes? 2014, I met Doc Brown, aka Christopher Lloyd. There's me right there with a Ultimate Warrior shirt on. There's Doc Brown with his hand. Emmett Brown with his hand around my sternum there, smiling, and me with a dumb, cheesy smile. This was fun. I also, of course, over the years, numerous times I've met Tom Green and gotten to know him a bit over the years. So those are 2 childhood here. Oh, and John Kruk. John Kruk I met at a fantasy camp in Florida. He was my hero from like, I don't know, age 12, 13, around there. Number 5, what is the worst thing you ever did to... Wow, Joey, this is an interesting question, Joey. What is the worst thing that I ever did to someone? The worst thing I've ever done to someone. So these questions I read them once in February of 2019. It is now June of 2020, and I haven't thought about this. This is the first time I'm reading it. The worst thing I've ever done to someone? Oh, God. Probably ghosted somebody on the internet. That's a bad thing to do. You shouldn't do that. But I did it. And you shouldn't do that. Do as I say, not as I do. I ghosted somebody on the internet. I don't know. What is a bad thing? What's an awful thing that you could do to somebody? I don't really do. Maui, any bad things? Have I done any bad things, anybody? Really? I can't think of any bad things. Number 6, why do you have so many pets? Ooh, that's a good one. Why do you have so many pets? I love other people's animals because I loathe other people's animals because I loathe the messes and responsibility of having a pet. It is a big responsibility if you've got a pet. Why do I have so many pets? Well, let's see. Well, right now I've got 4 cats. Of course, I had 5. Farley passed away. Miss you, Farley. And then we have I've had 2 dogs over the years of living here. I've been living in this house for the past 10 years. Biscotti and then Maui. Why do I have so many pets? Well, for one, I love them. Okay, I love pets. I love animals. Who the hell doesn't love animals? If you don't love animals, you're probably not my friend. Her left foot is right on my balls. Okay. You want a Virgil figure? You want the Virgil figure? Here it is. There's a Virgil figure. Virgil. Everyone's favorite. Virgil. All right. If you could live anywhere else in the world, regardless of the cost, where would it be and why? Good question, Joey Redballs. I'm not really big into going to foreign countries. I like living here in the United States. If I were to pick a place, regardless of the cost, I mean, it's kind of a lame answer to some people because I've got freedom to pick anywhere. But I honestly would probably pick New York City or a nice place in Philadelphia, in the city. That's where I would say a big enough place and a nice enough place so my pets could be comfortable. But yeah, New York City or Philadelphia. I'm not interested in going anywhere else. One of those two places. I love the city. I feel more comfortable in the city than in small towns. Does anybody else feel that way too? It's weird because some people get anxiety in the city. I don't get anxiety in the city. I feel less anxiety in the city. Number 8, if you were offered a one-way trip, Joey, what are you smoking? What is this question? If you were offered a one-way trip to colonize another Earth-like planet, would you go and why? No, and I'll tell you why. Unless you could colonize it, well, of course I'm not, but we'll just talk about leaving the Earth and going to another planet. I would not do that because I'd be too paranoid that something would go wrong. If you could guarantee me a safe trip and say 100%, 110% you'd come back safe, I would go. That's a lot. I consider that. I use that logic with jumping out of a plane, skydiving. You know, the 1% chance that an accident could happen, it probably would happen to me. I would pull a quick release by accident, or get tangled on my earlobe like this, and I would fall to my death. I don't want that to happen. Or the space shuttle would crash into an asteroid, and that'd be it. Number 9, if you could change one thing about the world without affecting free will, what would you do? Without affecting free will, what would you do? If you could change one thing about the world, it would be for all the children of the world to hold hands and sing of it. It's an old Saturday Night Live reference. No, I think I would require everyone to adopt a sheltered pet. You have to. You have no choice. If you have a home, you have to get a pet. You have to pick a pet from the shelter that is going to get euthanized, and by law, you've got to have it. I mean, unless it's crazy and it's biting your neck, you don't have to have it then. Or you can fill out a form. You can fill out a form and say it's biting my neck. I can't have it. But if it's not biting your neck, then you got to take the pet and you got to take care of it. And you can't abuse it. Animal abuse would be a more severe crime. Whatever it is now, it'd be 10 times worse. That's what I would do if I would change the world. Every family would have to adopt a shelter pet. Cat, dog, bunny, rabbit, whatever. That's what I would do. Because you're not going to change people's minds. You said, you can't change free will, right? So I'm not going to make people less materialistic. I'm not going to make, people less, capitalistic and crap like that. I'm not going to ever change that. So but I can force them to adopt a cute animal. I don't think that's such a bad thing, is it? For some people, it might be a bad thing. They don't want to soil their carpets. They don't want to soil their carpets because the Mickelsons are coming over. The Mickelsons are coming over on Tuesday night with a bottle of wine and the chestnuts and the walnut salad, the Waldorf salad. You don't want the Mickelsons to see the pee stains. So stay away from those people. You don't want to be around those subhumans. And the last question from Joey Redballs is. It's not his real last name, by the way. One time I made the mistake of announcing his name on the internet, and he scolded me. He took a fireball, and he virtually threw it in my face. He said, "How dare you, Ryan, for saying my last name? An employer could see this." And I said to him, "He's like, well, what's wrong with that? Why can't I? Why? What are they going to do?" He said, "Ryan, they're going to fire me." Why? Because you mentioned my name. Sorry, Joey. I didn't mean it. The last one. Why do you keep watching? Oh God, this is a lame one to end on, Joey. Really? You pulled this one out of your butt. Why do you keep watching WWE since you mostly loathe it now? Do you crave disappointment? I don't crave disappointment, but I think there's subconsciously something in me that wants the WWE to get better on a consistent basis. And to be honest, I don't really watch it on a consistent basis. I do DVR Raw, and I'll put it on mostly on Monday nights after I take a shower as like background noise to fall asleep to. I don't really sit there for 3 hours with my eyes glued. Certain segments I'll pop in, but I don't really watch it as religiously. I do watch AEW Dynamite every week. So to answer the question, I do still DVR it and pop in every now and then because of morbid curiosity. That's an Ed Ferrara term that I stole. And my friend Ed Ferrara, shout out to him. Even though I despise Vince McMahon and his family, there's something inside me that wants it to succeed again and be as big as it was in the late 90s and early 2000s. Okay, so I think that's it. Yeah, that's pretty good questions, Joey. So for myself, for Maui, the cutest sea otter in the world. We'll see you real soon. Sign out, Mal. Sign off. Let's do like a throw to the credits. Just throw to the credits. Just say, that's the end of our show. And then I'll fade out in iMovie when I edit this together. Say it. You're not going to say anything? You're not going to say anything at all? People are unsubscribing. The YouTube audience is they're unsubscribing in droves right now, Maui. You care. You just turn your head. What's this doing? I've been on YouTube since 2006. You don't care.